Welcome to the Worst of the Riot podcast. Coming up, how long can your boss promise you a raise without giving you a raise?
Also, ladies, if you have this set in your house, men won't be able to resist you. And more on the Worst of the Riot podcast.
I've got some good news and bad news from yesterday. You want to start with the bad news?
Sure.
I guess. It depends on your outlook. Some will see this as bad news, that the bill to ban TikTok in the United States passed the House of Congress, and it did so fairly easily. Lots of TikTok aficionados not going to be too jazzed about that. But here's the good news that many people might be losing sight of, is that one, even though it's passed the House, it's still got a long ways to go before it's anything official, right?
So the good news is that it still has a long way to go.
It has a long way to go. It has to, I'm seeing here.
That's not really good news.
It's good news. Because there's
good news that hasn't changed. It didn't come out yesterday. Wasn't breaking news. Well, they passed, but thankfully, we still have a couple more steps.
It's good news because everybody's acting. They're getting all up in arms. They're like, don't take away my TikTok. And it's not going anywhere anytime soon. The bill still has to go through the Senate. And from some of the quotes I'm seeing here, the Senate doesn't seem like they may or may not pass it the way it is now, or they may have to rewrite it, which then means it has to go back to the House. So it's got a long ways to go. And the other thing that everybody seems to be, that at least I think a lot of the people that voted for this yesterday want you to know, is that it doesn't mean it's banning TikTok. It just means that TikTok has to be sold from this Chinese company, which means TikTok could very easily still, this has happened to other apps in the past, actually, it could very easily still continue on being used in the United States.
But what if this guy says no?
What if TikTok said, what do you mean?
This guy that currently owns TikTok.
Yeah.
That's the issue, right?
Yeah, the Chinese company.
What if they just say no? We're not selling.
Then you get an account on Instagram Reels, I guess.
Precisely.
Start swiping on
there.
there.
You don't need TikTok. You don't need it.
That's what yeah, you don't.
So I don't know why everybody's getting so upset. If TikTok disappears, what's going to happen? They're going to fill it in with some other app.
Yeah.
You're going to fill your time with Instagram Reels. Mm-hmm.
That's I saw something. It was ironic yesterday to me. Somebody had tweeted out on Twitter. They said, quote this with a TikTok. That's the reason they should not ban TikTok. And obviously lots of people posted some great TikToks. Very funny, some very meaningful. But you just posted them on here on Twitter, which is proof that TikTok unnecessary. Your freedom of speech is not going anywhere. You can still freely speak everywhere else. It's not the only place you can post videos.
It's like when Vine went away.
Yeah. Nobody was saying our freedom of speech. How am I going to make money? Some people are probably saying, how am I going to make money? I've built up a big account, a lot of following. They'll come with you. Most of them, probably. If you're good.
Build it up on Instagram.
Yeah. Now, I do understand, though, there's a lot of content creators on TikTok that are now like, what am I going to do? I understand that, because if somebody was to me like, you can't do radio anymore, I'd be like, oh no, what am I going to do? I have no other skills.
Yeah, that wouldn't be good for you.
No, it wouldn't be good for me.
Nor would it be good for me.
Yeah, but just don't go flying off the handle. TikTok's not dead yet.
Do yourself a favor and follow The Riot on Instagram at RadioU Riot.
One of the most popular dating apps in the world may be about to experience a massive change. Bumble, well known for being the app where women message first, is about to possibly change that. Their CEO says, it's obviously been our signature, but it feels like a burden for a subset of our customers today.
I assume he's referring to the woman.
You assume she's referring to the women. Just because she's a CEO doesn't mean she can't be a lady. Yeah, she says the women. She's what she's referring to.
The ladies.
The ladies. She said, what it means to be an empowered woman today is that you feel in control of your experience. And so I guess that doesn't necessarily mean sending the first message anymore, but it used to.
Interesting.
Yes. Do you feel that is implying that it's been a burden because it's traditionally the man's role to reach out first on many? That's usually how it works. Was it a burden for you? Has it been a burden for you to have to reach out first? Make the
for
first
me?
move? Yeah.
It was not
a
in my
burden?
dating app days, no. Because if you're a man and you don't reach out, guess what happens? You don't meet anybody.
Nothing. Unless you're on Bumble. But that's all about to change. So right now, they are about to possibly do a relaunch in New Zealand and Australia first, where they are going to test different options for how they can change this. One idea they have is providing pre-written messages for women to lead off with instead of having to come up with them on their own. You know, like apparently how they do with Bumble BFF, where they have AI-generated first messages. If you're trying to make friends, they'll extend that out so that women can make the first move with the help of AI, not have to think of things on their own, because thinking of things on your own is kind of difficult to just strike up a conversation with a perfect stranger.
See, I think Bumble needs to keep it the way it is.
Why do you say that?
I think it's a good character builder. I think it's a skill people should be able to have as a way to start a conversation.
Yeah.
I think it's important for men and women to be able to strike up a conversation with anybody.
And so you're saying if there's not at least one app out there making women go first, then it's a skill they may never build.
Like last night,
Yeah.
it was funny. I was having a conversation with my roommate and my girlfriend, and I asked E, I was like, do you think, because we were watching a TV show where this person in a couple said, I bet I could pick up anybody at the bar they were at that time. And of course, they approach a random stranger. Some catastrophic thing happens because of the TV show. But I asked E last night, I said, if you had to, do you think you could walk up to a guy at the bar and like get their number? Of course. And she said no.
Really?
Which obviously is inaccurate.
That's surprising.
She's cute and she's a girl, so she could automatically get it.
You don't need to say anything. You just kind of stand there, make eyes, and I feel like that's all you need to do as a woman. I don't know. I've never been a woman.
She said that she doesn't really approach guys. She wouldn't feel comfortable because they've always approached her. So she lacks, my own girlfriend, lacks that communication skill.
Yeah.
Therefore making her less versatile.
She should have gotten on Bumble. Who knows how things would be different.
So you need that. You need that to be able to walk up to anybody and talk to them. Whether you're seeking a relationship or just trying to meet them, I think it's an important skill to have.
Yeah, because I mean, as a guy, we didn't have much choice unless we got on Bumble. We had to develop the skill, and
some guys never developed it.
No,
and you know who they are.
Try as they might. Try.
You know who they are.
Yeah. Well, be prepared. Bumble may be making this change sometime soon.
The only thing Isaiah loves more than the riot is himself.
Someone who probably still lives with his mother and hates himself.
You're listening to The Riot on Radio U.
Paul Alexander, they call him the man in the iron lung, passed away. He was 78 years old. And I don't know why this story intrigued me yesterday, but then I started digging into this guy a little more and started annoying Angela by telling her all I was learning about this guy because a really fascinating individual. Paul Alexander, he's lived in an iron lung. He just died at 78. He was placed in the iron lung machine when he was like 6 years old. He's lived in an iron lung with his body in a big metal tube that makes him breathe for like 70 years.
Pretty unbelievable.
Yeah. Apparently this is due to polio, which is a disease that doesn't even exist anymore, I believe. And but what happened was like he lost all use of really any of his muscles in his body, and that includes like the muscles that make you breathe. So this machine makes you breathe, and it's literally a big metal tube that just has his head sticking out. And he's lived in that for 70 years. Which there's a couple things remarkable about that. One, I was saying, how in 70 years have they not invented like a different way? Like something where he doesn't have to be in a giant metal tube. It's 70
I'm
years.
sure he's wondering the same thing.
Yeah, a lot of things have changed in 70 years. That never did. But that said, a remarkable story, because I think a lot of us, if we were stuck in a metal tube for our entire lives, probably would not have very good spirits. But Paul Alexander overcame a lot. He was able to become a lawyer from the tube, from the iron lung. He finished law school, was able to be a lawyer. He wrote a book, and lived a very inspirational life because he just kept going, even though he was stuck in a metal tube. Near the end, it did get kind of sad. Apparently, he was interviewed by somebody on YouTube. They realized that, like, obviously the cost of living in an iron lung, the medical bills alone for this guy, astronomical. And so he did not have very much money. He was living in an apartment with he's already stuck in a tube, no window. So that kind of sucks. But still, a guy that kept going. They set up a GoFundMe for him. He was able to, I think, live a little happier in his last few days. But he had some good quotes too. Like, again, a lot of people would have a pretty bad attitude, you can imagine, having to live out their days in an iron lung. But he said, he was like, well, I didn't die. God didn't want me to die, so I kept on living, and it changed all the time. But it was fun. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the struggle. I enjoyed the challenges. I enjoyed the people. He enjoyed the struggle of living in an iron lung, is what this guy says. So it does it a reminder that whatever you're going through, it's tough, but you just got to pull through. This guy pulled through 70 years of living in a metal tube. We can all get through what we're going through. You have a good attitude about it.
An unbelievable story. Every time that I saw him pop up in the news, I was always surprised that he was even still able to be alive.
Yeah.
Every single time it surprised me.
It is crazy. He was 78, and it's not like he just went into this machine. He's been in this machine for 70 years. So an amazing story. Paul Alexander passing away at 78 years old.
Disinformation, mispronunciations, bad impressions. That's Hudson. This is The Riot on Radio U.
And we're talking holidays that, I'm sorry that we're being negative here, but talking holidays that you just don't enjoy, that other people really seem to. You can let us know any that you have that come to mind at 877-2-RADIO-U, because Pi Day, not a day that I'm a big fan of. Susanna hit us up at 877-2-RADIO-U. She said Valentine's, St. Patrick's Day, and Cinco de Mayo. 3
big ones.
Yeah, we're right smack dab in that corridor. This is a tough time of year for Susanna, choosing those 3. I mean, St. Patrick's Day right around the corner. It's not going to be no good for Susanna, unfortunately.
Feels like a bunch of B-list holidays.
Yeah, I mean, you don't get the day off for them, most of us, and it makes the restaurants busier. I guess I understand why that could be troublesome for some people. Mike says, this is probably a hot take, but I don't really care about the national holiday type stuff in general. Just stick to the main holidays.
The big boys.
Yeah. It sounds to him, to me, like if you don't get the day off for it, he's not into it.
I will say for some of the national holiday stuff, the only thing that excites me about it is the potential deals.
Yeah. But I feel like that's so dropped off in recent years. Like probably since COVID would be probably the line where everything got a lot less fun because inflation skyrocketed and then they can't offer stuff for free anymore. Isaiah doubling down here on Valentine's Day as well. A different Isaiah, not you. Also says Valentine's Day, the least looked forward to holiday for him. I see Pip chiming in. Talk Like a Pirate Day. How do you feel about Talk Like a Pirate Day?
I don't recognize that as a holiday.
Yeah. Do you know when it is?
Do I know when it is?
Yeah.
No.
Neither do I. It's in September sometime. Angela says Star Wars Day, May the 4th. People are not going to like hearing that, but it is, I agree with that. I don't like the May the 4th. I guess you could also lump into that Mario Day and then Star Wars Day too. Some people Some people do the where it's May the 4th, and then there's like the Revenge of the 5th or something, and then May 6th strikes back. I don't know. But yeah, it's just too much. Too much Star Wars. Take it easy. Dial it back. Take it easy now. It's do you agree with this, Isaiah? Some of these would be like, it'd be fine if it was once, but then we do it every year, and that's a lot.
Feels like too much for you?
It does, yeah.
See, but if you love Star Wars, you would love it.
Yeah, but you love Star Wars all year round.
But you want a day that really pulls for you.
Where everybody
you
has
feel
to
like you're recognized.
pay attention, yeah.
Mine's Black Friday.
Black Friday, I'm surprised I haven't seen more people say that.
I'm indifferent on it. Like, when was the last time you went out for Black Friday?
Black Friday.
Fallen off.
Yeah, it's and you talk about deals that have fallen off. Black Friday, it's not the same. It's not the same. People used to be punching each other for TVs. Now they're just sitting at home and waiting for Cyber Monday to roll around.
Yeah, Cyber Monday, I'm in. Black Friday, I'm out.
Yeah. For me, also Mother's Day.
Whoa.
No, I'm just kidding.
We're not sure who behaves worse, the Riot or their dogs.
I don't even know how to behave like a real human being.
The Riot, Radio U.
Video's been posted online of a person at a wildlife center in Richmond, Virginia. The person is nursing a baby red fox. The person nursing the baby red fox is themselves wearing a fox mask. They're wearing like a whole fox costume head. It's pretty creepy. Now you might be wondering why. Apparently, it is so that they don't have human imprints on this little tiny baby fox. They're trying to minimize human sounds, and the fox is seeing the humans because that hopefully makes it easier for them to more likely for them to be able to reintroduce this fox back into the wild. But it doesn't make it any less weird looking to see a person in a fox mask, a fox head, feeding another fox.
I feel like that makes sense, though.
I've never seen it before, though.
I've never seen it either.
Yeah.
But it feels like that makes sense. Have the fox head on.
Mm-hmm.
The baby fox thinks you're his mom.
Yeah.
You can toss him back out in the woods. He's never been owned by a human.
Yeah. But you do have to wonder what happens if the fox finds out. What if this baby fox one day realizes it's been lied to its entire life, that the person, the fox that thought was its mother wasn't a fox at all? That's scarring for that fox. So you do have to think about the unintended consequences you could be having on these little baby foxes by lying to them.
How did they get this full-body fox suit? How long have they owned this?
They probably... Yeah, I don't know. Again, I've never seen this before. You'd think that if this was more commonplace, then it would be something that would just, that we wouldn't even faze us. But the video is making the rounds online because it is fairly unusual. So I don't know if this is a new tactic that this wildlife center came up with, that they've developed themselves. But I mean, the fox mask, you got to think probably like, I don't know, a furry convention or something, maybe.
What?
You just go there, you ask somebody, just like, hey, where'd you get that fox mask? And then you go wherever they got it, probably.
Well, now I'm looking forward to seeing that fox mask in my nightmares.
Do yourself a favor and follow The Riot on Instagram at RadioU Riot.
There's a new, a little mental health tip that's going around on TikTok. Isaiah, see if you think this sounds like a good idea. It's called the 90-day dinner. It is a little practice that has been devised, the term coined by Becca Havian. She is actually currently earning her master's in mental health counseling, so she has some expertise on mental health. The 90-day dinner is the practice is if you're going through a difficult time, a good example would be, let's say you just went through a breakup, then you set a date about 90 days in the future that is, and you organize this with your friends and or family, and you're like, this is a day we're getting together for a dinner. We can go out or we can get, whatever. 90 days from now, we're doing a dinner. And then that 90 days from then, so when you have the dinner, it gives you time to reflect and look back and be like, oh, look, things are different now than they were 90 days ago when I was so upset about whatever the thing was that I was going through. You think it makes a lot of sense?
So you're thinking you go through a traumatic experience, you need to schedule a dinner for 90 days in the future to see how everything changes.
Yes.
Interesting concept. You'd be really hungry by then.
Yeah, that's true. I like the idea because it gives you, she doesn't mention this at all, but this is something that we are big supporters of here on the Riot, big proponents of, and that is having something to look forward to. So even if you're going through a difficult time, a dinner might not be the most exciting thing, but it is attainable versus trying to schedule a vacation or something like that 90 days in the future. You schedule a dinner that you can be excited about for 90 days in the future, and then you can just count down the days. It gives you at least something to look forward to. And then the addition is it can serve as a little milestone, that 90 days in the future. Whatever the thing you went through is, you made it 90 days. And if you can make it through 90 days, who knows how long you can make it. And again, what she says is at the end of those 90 days, the feelings that you experienced when you called the dinner may still exist in some part, but they're definitely not going to be as intense as they were 90 days ago. So it'll be a chance for you to look back and be like, hey, wow, we made it a long way. It wasn't that bad, actually, when you look back at it.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad idea. I never am going to be against scheduling dinners out in the future for a good reflection period.
Yeah.
So I'm for that.
And you might be wondering why 90 days. But when she explains this does make a lot of sense. She says basically that 90 days is one of those time periods that feels simultaneously very far away, but also not that long of a time. Like when you get to the 90-day dinner, you're going to be like, wow, I can't believe it's been a whole 90 days because it's going to feel like such a short time since you called the dinner. But when you're calling it 90 days, feels like, 3 months from now is what, June? It's
June 14th.
Yeah, right in the smack dab in the middle of the summertime. That feels so far away right now. But by the time you get there, you're going to be like, wow, I can't believe that March 14th was only 90 days ago. I can't believe that I went through that breakup, I got fired. I can't believe whatever happened 90 days ago. I can't believe it was that long ago. So I like the idea. I think it actually could be a helpful thing. Granted, I hope I never have to do this.
Me too.
I never want to experience trauma ever again.
You don't always have to agree with Isaiah to always disagree with Hudson. The Riot. Radio U.
Our buddy here took a job. He thought he was being a little bit underpaid, but he wanted the experience, so that was okay. And then he was working under someone who ends up retiring. That person leaves, he takes over the role. He had a meeting with his boss saying, I'd like to raise my pay since I'm taking over this new role, new responsibilities. That boss says, heck yeah, let's do it. Let me talk to my boss and we'll get that lined up. The head man in charge is blowing our buddy off here. It's now been 9 months. He's reached out multiple times about having this discussion. Since then, he's been doing this job for now like a full year. He's been working at the company for over 2 years. He doesn't know what to do. He feels as if this meeting is never going to happen. And now he's working, doing more work for the same amount of pay that he was doing before.
Yeah, when he was already underpaid.
Yes.
Some good thoughts coming in here. Tim at 8772 Radio U says, I've had a similar situation happen to him. He says, I say leave the job. You've already worked there for 2 years anyways. And we just said this on the show the other day. That's the recommended amount of time when you should start looking for another job if you want higher pay. So that's good advice, I feel, from Tim. Dakota also says, put in your 2 weeks. They'll probably come back with an offer.
Oh.
Yeah.
A little
I like
standoff.
that. Yeah. But what if they call your bluff and you're like, okay, go ahead.
Dakota also says, would obviously have another job offer ready
Yes.
in case they don't.
We have somebody else who texted in here who says, walk up to the boss and tell him you need to talk. If they do not answer or cooperate, leave the company.
Boom.
Whoa. Now that's
I like hearing that.
grabbing the bull by the horns.
That's how you do
right
it.
there. But it makes sense. It's tough. 9 months. You're more patient than many people, I would say, especially nowadays. But if you think about it from the other perspective, right? From the boss's perspective, it's not going to be a priority for him the boss is not going to want to, he's got a million things maybe he's dealing with. And one of the top things he's not thinking about is, oh, when can I do that meeting so I can pay that guy more? But so you have to make it a priority for him. And probably to me, the best way to do it does feel like lining up something, at least having something as a possibility, and then going to them and saying, hey, you've been blowing me off for 9 months here. I need that raise you were talking about.
Yeah, for me, it feels like he's likely avoiding what he sees as a tough conversation that he doesn't want to do, or else because if he really wanted to give you the raise, he would have done it 9 months ago.
Yeah.
It would have been an exciting conversation. But this also shows me, it feels as if this really shows how the business is operated too. If he's not willing to have this meeting with you, then this probably isn't somewhere that you want to work long term anyway.
Yeah. If he can, in 9 months, if you're keeping following up, but also if you're doing it sounds like he was doing it on about a monthly basis, saying, hey, what about that raise? It feels like you're making it a little too easy for him to blow you off. Again, you don't know I don't know how busy the company is, what the boss is doing, but you don't know all that he's got going on. It just might not be something you email him once a month. He's like, yeah, let's get to that. And then he forgets about it because he's doing other stuff that he sees as more important, which does show that you're not a priority as an employee. But still, you can let that slide a little bit, but you've got to force the issue.
Yeah, I would say ask one more time, toss it out there, and then if he blows you off again, then it's time to put your 2 weeks in. Start looking for other jobs, and then maybe that'll really, really push them to give you that raise. But even
That'll
then,
light a fire.
But then I think too, if you putting in your 2 weeks makes them give you a raise, is that is that a job that you want to stay in?
When do you want to pull that card again?
Yeah, exactly.
How many times?
How many times are you going to pull I'm putting in my 2 weeks card? And so if they aren't willing to give you the raise, unless you put in your 2 weeks, unless you literally say you're going to quit, then you probably should look for a job elsewhere anyway.
And one of the things I like about fire to hire is it's way easier to say, when we're doing it from the employer's perspective, just quit.
Just quit. Why not just quit the job?
When it's a relationship, I'm like, well, I don't know. But when it's fire to hire, I'm like, get out of there. There's a million other jobs. You might not be able to find another person to date.
There's never been a can of worms they didn't open. The Riot, Radio U.
What is Isaiah and I's dream cars? Find out in the Worst of the Riot extra episode today, wherever you get your podcasts. I got a little dating hack here for the ladies.
They need them.
That's right, they do. This one's been going around on TikTok, where if you're a woman and you got a guy you really like, what you want to do early on in the dating process, probably the first time he comes over to your house, he's coming to pick you up or whatever, he's going to come inside. What you're supposed to do, as if you don't have enough going on already, is you're supposed to bake cookies shortly before the guy comes to pick you up. The thought is not that you give him the cookies and he can eat them, although that also is nice. You could do that. You could share. But more importantly, he needs to be able to smell the smell of cookies, freshly baked cookies, when he walks into your house or your apartment or whatever. And then he always associates that smell of cookies, which obviously is a great smell, with you.
That's a great idea.
You think that would work?
I love that idea.
Yeah.
I'm a big smell guy.
Uh-huh.
I love good smells.
Yeah, it seems like it would definitely work on you.
It would for sure work on me. I love sweets too.
Uh-huh.
I love brownies and cookies. That's like my go-to thing to do on the weekends. Just bake some sweets. Yeah. So if I walked into your place and it smelled like cookies or brownies, right away. Yeah. It'd be a huge plus.
And then if things don't work out, like if he turns out that he sucks, then think about the revenge factor later on too, that for the foreseeable future, every time he smells cookies, he's going to be like, oh, I miss Melissa. Yeah. She was oh my God.
She smells so good.
Yeah, that's right. I was also thinking you could do this with cookies. You said brownies. Also, cinnamon rolls. Cinnamon rolls would be great. Now, if they're picking you up in the afternoon, then it kind of be like weird. Like, why'd you just make cinnamon rolls at 3 in the afternoon? Nevertheless,
If it smells like it, I'm not questioning it.
Yeah, that's right. It's just like, yeah, I want cinnamon rolls.
Like I walk into a woman's house and just whatever smells in there, it smells incredible. I just assume that's how it smells all the time. You could have just baked cookies. I would assume it smells like that all the time in there.
Yeah. So here's my other question then. We're men. What could we have our home smell like when a woman walks in for the first time, and it would have the same effect? Is it also cookies, or is there something different?
You know what the answer is.
No, I
Sawdust.
don't.
Wood.
Every time she walks into a Home Depot for the rest of her life. Oh, Isaiah, he was such a good guy.
Pine.
Yeah.
Should we go oak?
Mm-hmm. Mahogany.
Maybe freshly cut grass.
Cedar.
Cedar.
Cedar's the way to go.
Cedar's pretty good.
Just make your house smell like cedar.
Yeah, you have a lot of manly smells like that probably.
Mm-hmm.
Teak wood, another one right off the rip.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that smell is, but I know that it smells good.
Yeah. I like the sawdust idea. But
Sawdust.
Freshly cut grass is good. She's like, did you just finish mowing the lawn? No. I just always smell like that.
Just how my house always.
Yeah. The smell of spring.
Leather.
Yes. I don't know. These are all smells that smell good. They smell good to us. Would a woman hearken back to them and be like, man,
Amber.
every time I smell it, it makes me think of him.
They're just so much better. They're just so much better.
So much. Well, we're just so much easier manipulated, I believe.
If you just make it smell like cookies. Every time I walk into my girlfriend's bedroom, she has a candle lit. It smells incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I walk into my house, it smells a little bit like my dog.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why do you hang out here? I don't understand.
Yeah, that's not helping your cause at all.
Disinformation, mispronunciations, bad impressions. That's Hudson. This is The Riot on Radio U.
Answer this if you can. You ever been in any legal trouble?
I have not.
No?
Actually, no, I've been pulled over before.
Oh, that doesn't count.
Well, then no. You never let me be exciting.
What?
You never let me be exciting.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, do something exciting. Why don't you get into some legal trouble? Jeesh.
That's not exciting.
That would be fun. It would be so good for the show if you got into some kind of...
If I got arrested?
Not arrested. What if you... Not arrested,
but if I almost got arrested?
Yeah. Or, yeah, if you just had to appear in court for some reason.
Or maybe they thought that I was the bad person.
Yes. What if you get framed?
Ah, that'd be the best.
That would be so good for the show.
Oh, that'd be so good.
Yeah, if you get framed or like blackmailed or something like that.
Or maybe I'm like walking down the street when like a robbery happens and then they thought it was me just because I was there.
That's a good question. Though I was thinking walking down the street and you're the victim of a crime.
Oh, I'm a victim.
Yeah, that'd be great for the show too.
I depends on what it is.
If you had
I don't want to get beat up.
Would you like to? Have you ever had to face an accuser in court?
I've never had to. No.
You've never been in court at all?
Never been in court. No.
Actually, me neither. Not that type of court, anyways. But you never even been in traffic court, have you?
Mm-mm.
Dang, you're so clean cut. You're so wholesome.
Somebody has to be.
Yeah. But I imagine for me, I've never been in real court either. But if you walked in there, I mean, let's say you walked in and you saw Judge Judy was your judge. How'd you be feeling about that?
Well, I'd be on TV, so I'd be feeling pretty good.
Yeah, but
I'd be ready to put on a show.
Yeah, I guess you really ham it up.
Mm.
I'm sure Judge Judy would love that too. That would really make her rule in your favor. I don't mind seeing Judge Judy from time to time. It's interesting, but I would be afraid if I was going into court and Judge Judy was the judge. She's so like, she seems angry.
Well, you got to win her over off the rip. She's always more against one person every time. You got to be the one that she's for.
And it's the person that is making accusations or whatever, or trying to defend themselves, and they have no paperwork. They have nothing in writing. They have no evidence whatsoever. But they're just like, that person let their dog bite me or whatever. Well, do you have the bills from when you went to the hospital? No, I don't. Well, then how am I supposed to know how much? Like that kind of thing. It's easy to get on her bad side. And that's intimidating to me. And what's crazy is basically many people, I feel, view God this way, that if you had to picture God, he's a judge in a courtroom and he's upset. He's upset before you even walk in. Forget about when you walk in there and he starts looking over the list of stuff that you're in there for. That's not something you want to go through. But This is difficult to imagine, but I know there's judges that are like this, that you walk in to the court and the judge is actually like kind of sympathetic. The judge is actually pretty patient with you. It's not like Judge Judy at all. We all have stuff in our lives where if you had to go before a judge, it would not be, you wouldn't feel very confident about it. And Jesus, though, is that judge that he's not upset with you before you even walk in the door. Jesus is ready to give you another chance, ready to believe in you. He cares about you. He loves you. And so while he knows that many of the things that you've done that you're not proud of, that you're not excited to share, that you wouldn't want to go before a judge, particularly an angry judge, and deal with, Jesus isn't going to hold that over your head like so many others would. Jesus is going to be there with you every single day, still loving you despite your faults and the mistakes you've made. If you're ready for a relationship like that, to see Jesus in a whole new way, get it straight from him. Say, hey, God, I want to know more about that. I want to know more about who you actually are. Come into my life, change things for me, and help me to see myself not as somebody full of mistakes and all that, but as somebody who's loved. Because that's who you are. You want to know more? Check out RadioU.com/free gift.
We're not sure who behaves worse, the Riot or their dogs.
I don't even know how to behave like a real human being.
The Riot, Radio U.
The things from that topic, 3 choices each, and you tell us which of our teams is the better team and which picks we missed. Today's topic, very timely. It's Pie Day. So Isaiah and I are drafting the best pies. Isaiah, I'll tell you that I have a clear number 1 seed in this best pie draft, but you have the first pick, so I'm hoping you don't steal it. Go ahead.
I'm trying to figure out today how strictly pie we're going here. I have a lot of edge. I have a lot of like, is this pie?
It has to have pie in the name.
Got it.
It have to be something that if you said whatever, pie, people would go, yep.
Okay. Got it. So if they would normally say pie, then okay, that's fair. I'm going to lead off with my number 1's no question, though. I'm going to lead off with apple pie.
Apple pie.
I love apple pie. It's probably my number 1 pie.
Mm-hmm.
I lead off. If it's a good apple pie, it's up there. So apple pie is my number 1.
That was one of my possibilities. It's a good choice. Apple pie, always good. My clear number 1 seed, pizza pie.
Oh, so you're going with pizza pie, even
Yes.
though people don't usually say pie.
They don't normally. It depends on where you are. Some people don't even call it pizza; they just call it pie. They just be like, "You want to split a pie?
You want to get a pepperoni pie?
You just want to get a pie?
You want to get a meat lover's pie?
What toppings do you like on your pie?" They would say.
Got it.
And
Interesting.
I would be like pepper. No, I wouldn't. I'd be like toppings, whipped cream. But for them, they'd be like pepperoni. So I'm going pizza.
So you're
pie.
going pizza pie. So
Yeah.
that's just cheese then.
It can be anything.
Oh, so you're going with all of pizza.
Yes.
Okay, so you get all of pizza. Okay.
Yes. Pizza pie.
I should have went with pie.
Yeah. And my number 2 choice. This is tough. You took apple from me. I will go chocolate pudding pie. Because that's good.
Interesting choice.
Yeah, it has to have a graham cracker crust too.
Okay, chocolate pudding
I've got
pie.
pizza and chocolate pudding pie so far.
I like those choices.
Yeah.
I will follow up with a personal favorite of mine and a family favorite with good old peanut butter pie. I love a peanut butter pie.
I'm surprised you didn't take that number 1.
Oh, because I knew I needed apple. And then I'll follow that up with a crowd favorite.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with a good pumpkin pie.
Dang it. I really wanted pumpkin pie as my last choice. It'd be ludicrous if we did a whole pie draft that didn't take pumpkin. So that's a good choice by you. It does leave me in a difficult situation here as to what I should choose for my final choice. I am going to go with cherry pie.
Cherry pie.
That's a classic, just a good classic choice. Our pie draft today on Pie Day. Isaiah, you have.
I've got apple. I've got peanut butter, and I've got pumpkin.
And I have pizza. I have chocolate pudding, and I have cherry. Which of us came up with a better pie team, and which picks did we miss? 8772 Radio U. We'll see what people are saying.
The only thing Isaiah loves more than the riot is himself.
Someone who probably still lives with his mother and hates himself.
You're listening to The Riot on Radio U.
Pie day. Isaiah had the first choice. Your team is?
I went with apple pie, followed by peanut butter pie and pumpkin pie.
And I have pizza pie, chocolate pudding pie, and cherry pie. And the votes are rolling in. We heard from Bailey, who says, picking Isaiah, but Buckeye pie reigns supreme.
I watched the video she sent. Buckeye pie looks fire. It looks so good.
Is Buckeye pie distinctly different from peanut butter pie, though?
Yes, because it has chocolate in it.
Yeah, but if I chose that, it would feel like I was just duplicating what you said. Or
Buckeye pie?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I would take, from the looks of it, that's a different kind of pie.
Regina says, love pizza, but overall got to go with Isaiah for peanut butter pie and apple pie. And then she also pointed out one that I'm kicking myself for forgetting. I went outside the box with pizza pie. I also should have picked pot pie. She says she's making chicken pot pie. Chicken pot pie. That would have been a great answer. I love pot pie. What was I thinking?
Big miss from Hudson there.
Big
Also
miss.
a big miss. Bailey is a man.
Oh, fail on your part. But that's understandable. Max says, got to go with Hudson. Pizza sent it over the edge. Carrie says, Isaiah. And Carrie says, her team, I'm not sure, would be peanut butter, pumpkin, and strawberry pie instead of apple pie. Susanna says, don't love either of your choices. All right, negative Nancy. But she's going with Hudson for cherry and pizza pie. And because he's being a good sport, celebrating a holiday he doesn't like.
She must like pecan pie.
I am lost as to what pie she would even enjoy. Maybe blueberry?
Strawberry?
Peach? Boston
There's
cream?
still a lot of pies. Like key lime
Yeah,
pie. I mean,
key
there's a
lime,
lot of pies.
Lemon meringue. Philip says, also thinking outside the box, shepherd's pie and Oreo pie. Also, he's voting for me. What else was on your list that you left out?
I didn't have a very long list today.
Yeah, I didn't. I had a strong top 4, and then you took 2 of my 4.
I had 3, and then I had a 4th. And my 4th was oatmeal cream pie.
Oatmeal? Wait, what are you talking about?
You
The
said-
Little Debbie's?
Yeah.
Yeah, but those aren't good.
Huh? Oatmeal cream pies?
Yeah.
That was the 4th pie that I came up with that I enjoy.
That's crazy.
I thought that was, I can't think of another pie that I would eat. I don't eat many pies.
What about, there's other things that are similar to
Then
oatmeal
I considered,
cream pies.
you know what I considered?
What
I
else did you
considered
think about?
cheesecake.
Yeah, I know. I was like, I thought that too. I was like, could a cheesecake be considered a pie? How is it markedly different?
Because I would have taken cheesecake at 1 had I
Yeah.
considered pie, but I didn't want to stretch it.
I mean, it's literally called cake, so it can't be a pie. But then again, Boston cream pie is called a pie when it's clearly a cake, and that would have been fine to draft in this.
And an oatmeal cream pie is called a pie when it's clearly not a pie.
It's not much of a pie at all.
Philip says, don't you dare insult oatmeal cream pies. They're a staple of my
I
generation's
know,
childhood.
and I know Susanna.
Dirk says, what about moon pies? You know what?
That's what I was thinking of. That's what I was trying to think of. Yes. And those are better. Those are better than whatever I took third. Cherry pie, I would go with moon pie. If I had to do it all over again, pizza pie, pot pie, and moon pie, I would have won.
Is that would have been your 3?
That would have been my 3, I think, if I had another chance at this. But that's Troy's Champions. Unfortunately, I won either way.
You don't always have to agree with Isaiah to always disagree with Hudson. The Riot. Radio U.
Our 2 cents, where Isaiah and I get to share our likes and dislikes, our unfiltered opinions on whatever the heck we want. Without further ado, this is our 2 cents.
Yesterday, I did something that I do not like to do at the gym.
This is a dislike?
This is a big time dislike. I decided, I don't know why I did this. I should never do this again. I decided to try something new.
Uh-huh.
Stupid.
What did you try?
Like I saw this, and this was a big mistake of mine. I saw this like certain workout
Uh-huh.
on TikTok,
Yeah.
this movement, and I was like, oh, like it looks like that would be a good workout for me to try, right?
Yeah.
And then I find myself in this awkward position where I don't really know what I'm doing, and I feel like I look kind of silly, and then all of a sudden I've lost confidence. I did like 3 reps. It felt weird, and I just stopped doing it. I could not get myself to continue that movement. Went right back to my typical routine. I'm done trying new things at the gym. I go to the gym every day.
Yeah.
I have a routine.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I decided to mix it up. I will not do that again.
No, sir. I didn't like it.
Well, I'll turn it to a more positive note, and in fact, something that is related. I like the change of the seasons we're experiencing here, where it's actually been nice outside for most of the time recently, because it makes it so much easier. You know, I've been trying to diet and get in shape, and I'm not a gym guy, so I'm not going to go to the gym. So I go on hot girl walks, but it's much harder to convince yourself to go on a hot girl walk when it's cold outside. But yesterday, I got over 10,000 steps in because I just went down by the river after work. It was so nice. And so I like that I'm getting in better shape now because the weather is allowing me to. I like it.
I like it a lot. I like it a lot.
I got 2 negatives today.
What? This isn't called R3 cents.
Sorry about that, everybody. I've only got 2 negatives. I only have 2.
Oh, okay,
No positives.
No positives. Come on.
This starts with a positive. I got my tax return back.
Yeah.
I owe money.
What?
I owe money.
What are you
There's
doing?
nothing worse than owing money.
Yeah.
And the reason that I owe money is
You won so many bets?
No,
Yeah.
I wish. Because the city that I live in is so expensive. So expensive to live where I live.
Yeah.
And I owe over $200 back.
Dang.
Which is way more than I was hoping for.
Did you budget for that?
I was not budgeting for that, and I was hoping this whole time.
Yeah.
I've been like, all right, I can't wait to get my tax return.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm gonna buy myself something nice. And then yesterday, get my tax return back, and I somehow owe the government more money, which was just a slap in the face. And the worst part is this month I've been saving. I've been spending no money, and I was really excited because I'm gonna have a lot of money after my paycheck comes. All my expenses weren't too much this month, and then I get this $200 dropped off on the end.
That's a double whammy too, because you probably got to raise your withholding.
The worst.
Yeah.
So I don't like that.
I got 3 words for you. You like that?
No, you don't.
Don't like it.
My dislike here. Hate to end things on a negative note, so I'll put a silver lining on this. Syracuse, my college team, lost in the ACC tournament yesterday. They're out of March Madness. The women's team will be in, but the men's team, no good. They're done. But there's a silver lining. So I don't like that. But I like that now I can approach March Madness, approach the big dance without any emotion involved. I can just be purely logical, purely analytical, and focus entirely on cheering for my bracket to win money.
I like it.
I like it. I like that.
I got 3 words for you. You like that?
That's our 2 cents.
Find more Riot content online. Riot.radiou.com.